This webinar is going to focus on eLibrary Curriculum Edition. Here you'll find journals, videos, newspapers, pictures, websites, plus links to ProQuest Learning Literature and History Study Center. We'll start here on the GoWild.net page. You can locate eLibrary Curriculum Edition here alphabetically under product title. And don't forget that our students and patrons can access these remotely. Remote user login information is available at the top right of this screen. This is a great resource not only for schools but for public libraries. You'll be able to see what's going on in the world, find out about topics, get videos, radio and TV transcripts, as you can see here across the bottom, maps, link to websites. Across the top, you can see you can search by topic, take a look at what publications are represented, use their reference tools, and they've added Common Core correlation links. The basic search box, of course, is here in the middle, and there's an advanced search box, which we'll look at, and a popular searches. The popular searches are 10 of the most popular searches from last week. So that lets kids kind of see what other kids are looking for, what other kids are researching, especially if they're trying to find a topic. So let's take a look at all the pieces of this by doing a search. I'm going to start by launching our search on Peru. When we get our results page, you'll see that we can refine our search. It's brought our search and search box along with us. Then they have a why don't you try. So if you've got too many, not enough, they're giving some suggestions here. Then you'll see that there are tabs, general, literature, and history. General is the page that we're on now, the general searching. Literature will take you to the results for this search within ProQuest Learning Literature. And the History tab will take you to the History Study Center. And we'll take a look at those later on in this webinar. Then you get down to the center here where they have their essential content. Notice that we can expand this research topic here in the middle. And it shows us information about our topic. And on the right-hand side, we can link to background in history, a gallery of pictures, a look at Peru in modern society, internal conflict, and then they've added some related links, so to broaden or narrow our search. Below that, you'll see there are links, the background in history, the gallery, modern society, conflict, all of those things that were within that information that they've pulled together. Below that then, we'll find our results page. Because we left it on all our results types, it's searching all our newspapers, pictures, magazines. You can identify them by the icons. And on the left-hand side, you can see how many results you have for each. By clicking on one of those, you would be able to bring one of those to the top. So you'll notice that I've got books, and I've got my transcripts, and then I've got audio video. I can sort that out so one type comes to the top of my page. So for example, if I clicked on audio, it's going to bring those 11 results up to the top here, and you'll see that I have graphics, animation, I have birds and bird calls of Peru. As I scroll down, you'll see that you can refine your results by a topic. So I can refine it by government, facts and overview, some topics that have come out. Below that, I can sort by date range. Notice here, though, that you can also update your results to include newspaper articles older than 90 days. So if you're looking for a topic that you wanted to find newspaper articles for and say it happened in January, you can click on that and increase your numbers of results and back those newspapers up to older ones. We also can sort results by keyword, relevance, date. You can also sort by Lexile score, title, and publication names. I'm going to click on the magazines here. Notice that to the right of each one there's an icon, and that lets you display a little information about whatever that article might be. And you'll also get on some of these, you'll have it identify whether it's a scholarly journal or a business journal. So those are identified and readily visible right there on your results page. If you've brought up, have pictures intermixed here, they'll add a thumbnail to the right of the title. So you get an idea of what that is before linking on it. So it lets you keep narrow down some of the clicking. Back on our search page, in addition to doing a basic search here in our search box, you can search by using their topic pages or their ProQuest research topic pages. The topics tab here is at the top, and the browse research topics is here under all our icons. But we're going to start with topics. Topics let you take a broad topic, such as the arts, and then narrow it using their suggested subtopics here. So we have artists, literature, resources, visual arts. So I'm going to narrow my topic by painters. And notice next to each one of these pages there's a view results link. If they've done one of those research topics pages where they've brought information together, it'll be identified by adding the star next to the view results. So I'm going to select Frida Kahlo here, and notice across the top it's done our topics in our little breadcrumb trail here. And now here's our topic, Frida Kahlo, and again it gives us information about her, a gallery, life and legacy, works and quotes, and some related links. You can expand this document right here in the left hand corner, and below that then are our newspapers, pictures, magazines, and the like in our results list. And again, on the left hand side you can bring just the magazine articles to the top, for example, or the websites to the top of your list. Up here at the top by our search, it's showing how many results we've got, that we have 250 here. And I know a lot of times it's hard to find works without sending the students out on Google. So this is a nice way to kind of see some for works and pictures of the artist. And now that I've expanded that, we can scroll down and then see more of her works. I'm going to go back to topics here just to take a moment so you can see it also, some of the topics, history, math, and here under math you can get to geometry, basic math basics, so they can get information there. Many of these lead to some websites that they've identified to help with that, kind of like homework helps. Reference, science, English and language arts, PE and sports and social sciences. Sciences, I know a lot of times folks are needing to find biographical information, so this is another great place to come. Here under science, for example, there's featured scientists, and you could come in and take a look at one of these. So for example, Gregor Mendel, and notice that it's now, as I'm going down through the topic, getting more specific, it gives me a link to biographies as well as writings and research of Gregor Mendel. The other way to search a topic is to use their browse research topics here under the icons. These are editorially created units that are tied to popular research topics. So you're going to find background information, photos, articles, all pulled together for that topic. So for example, one of the questions I get a lot is which of our databases will help answer when students have a decades question. They often have to do information about a year or a decade. This is a great place to come, as you can see. I'm going to select the 1940s popular culture here. So now you see one of their research topic pages, and I can scroll down here. There's music, sounds, film, television, and notice that these are not just lists, these are actual links to those pieces. So it also takes the research of the student out to more information. One of the really fun ones I think here is Sounds of the 1940s, and this is a link so that you can hear the music. And because it takes a while, I did already load one up here.
Nothing but blues.
So what a great way to add to their research, but to also get to hear some of the music and see some of the folks involved in that time period. That piece of video does actually show Louis Armstrong and Frank Sinatra. It just didn't play over the webinar technology here today. So if we scroll down, you'll see you also have links to these various films within that era, TV bits in that era, and you can also see what reference work and what magazine those are in. So a lot of detail here to get a person started if they were researching a specific decade. I'm going to go back to the research topics. So that just came up the decades because we started with the numbers. If you want to look at other topics, notice there's an alphabetic list across the top here. So I selected N, and you can see there's quite a variety here from the NAACP to Naomi Judd. And I'm going to pull up the Navajo Code Talkers. Notice that when we bring this up, in addition to the information, there's links at the top that you can email and print this and get citation information for this. You can also add this document to what they call My List to save it to do all that at the end. If you don't sign in, it will be lost when you log out. You can create a My eLibrary and those will be saved. And that's here at the top under My eLibrary. So I'm going to scroll down here a little bit and look at some of this background and history and show you one of the links. I'm going to go into this LA Times newspaper article. So here's an article. Again, you can email, print, get the citation view, add it to a list. And as we scroll down, there's our information about where this article came from. One of the other pieces that they have within eLibrary Curriculum Edition is that you can highlight a term and go into the reference collection. And then just highlight the word, click on reference. And now it brings it up, brings your encyclopedia citations here for various topics under Navajo, Navajo Mountain, Navajo Code Talkers, Navajo language. So if I click on that, this one's really fascinating because it has a lot of detail about the Navajo language. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit. If students are interested in it or your patrons, here's some of the Navajo language and how the grammatical structure of that language, which I found really interesting, and a lot of good detail that you can drill down into in eLibrary, starting with the topic and then using that highlight, go to the reference, and get a lot more detailed information. Let's go back to that reference since we used that. What they're looking at when you're searching reference are dictionary, thesaurus, encyclopedia, almanacs, atlas, and some other reference. Look at a search term here. So here's our search term in our reference, and you can see we've got encyclopedias, Merriam-Webster's Biographical Dictionary, Spanish and English encyclopedias, chronology of world history. So a great variety here, and on the left-hand side, it can be narrowed down to just the dictionaries, just the encyclopedias. When we did our search, we can click on Refine Search. You can also narrow it here by clearing all those icons if you just wanted, for example, the encyclopedias or just the dictionaries, and then you can launch your search again. So let's take a look at the Publications tab. This is a pretty interesting one. Usually when we're looking at these, we're just seeing the magazine and journal articles represented in this database. But this one will also get you to TV and radio transcripts, books, and you can drill down to specific articles. So let's take a look at this first screen here. Again, we're starting with the numbers, and you'll see that we have 48 hours. In this database, you can get TV and radio transcripts. To see specific episodes, I can just click the plus sign next to the year, then next to the month, and then select the date. So here's September 21st of 48 hours. So if someone's coming in, they saw a show that was on, here's the transcript from that show. The other thing on the Publications tab here, let's look at some of the publications. Notice that you can look at it by name, by type, and by subject by using these tabs here at the top. So I've selected the P, and I'm going to scroll down here to the Peterson Field Guide to Western Birds. Notice there's also one for rocks and minerals. And I'm going to select the avocets here out of my list. And notice here's the information out of the Peterson's Field Guide, including all the images, the text, the maps, their habitat, and at the very bottom, your citation information. At the top, in addition to that citation view, you can also print and email this. At the top here on the right, you can go back to your browse the issues, or you can show more documents like this. So I'm going to click back to the issue browse, and that brought me right back to the Peterson Field Guide to Western Birds. So now that you can move through the alphabet here to look up other birds within the field guide. The next one I want to show you, I'm going to go back to our publications list and look at a magazine this time. You'll see quite a variety here, from the Sarasota Herald Tribune to the Saturday Evening Post, Scholastic News, School Administrator, Science News, some Shakespeare studies, Shakespeare Quarterly. I'm going to go into Southern Living, and again click on the plus sign for my month, my year and my month, and then select my issue. When you get into an issue, notice that it's Southern Living, all for August 2013, and now I can browse through all the articles within that magazine for that month. Notice it does have the little document preview icon on the right. One of the things I want to show is if you click on the title, it will bring up the text version. But if you wanted to see the PDF, the link is here at the top. So there's the PDF version of this document, and I can move through the pages. So you can get it in the text version, or you can see the scanned version PDF document. So I'm going to return to my results with the little link there at the top. And let's go back to our publications page. Notice here that on the left is where we selected our issue. On the right, you have a search within this publication. So notice it's brought me out to an advanced search screen, and down here at the bottom under publication name, it has entered Southern Living. So we know that publication is in this database. So now you can type your search term in, whatever they were looking for in that specific issue, and bring up all the issues of Southern Living. There's May of 2013, March 2012, September 2011, all for where your term appears. When you're looking for your term in the article, notice that there's a section here at the very top, a link that says jump to the best part, and notice it will get you down to wherever your term is highlighted on that page. So let's go back and look at one more under publications just to see the variety of things that are here. I'm going to click on the R's, because another thing that they've listed is their research topic pages. So here's the link, Now it brings me out, again, it comes up by the numbers first, and it brings up all those topics that they've done these research topic pages for. And again, you can just wander through the alphabet here to see what's available. This is going to be a great place to come if you've got students in your library trying to figure out a topic. So for example, I just clicked on Z. So there's everything from Zac Brown and Zac Efron to Zion National Park, to Zulu, to Zydeco music. We already saw the advanced search screen when it brought us there from our publication search, but let's take a look at this screen. On the advanced search screen, here's our search box. You can clear or keep all of the different searches, but notice again, here's our include newspaper articles older than 90 days. So if you're looking for information that happened in a newspaper, this is how you're going to have to get those older papers. You can also narrow to scholarly journals only in this advanced search, and it defaults to that because you've gone to an advanced search screen. You can do a date range, topics, and it lets you select a topic, and that takes us back to where we saw the arts, reference, science, etc. You can also search for those only in Spanish, author, document title. You can also do a reading level or enter a Lexile reading score and select publications. So you can really build a specific search here on the advanced search screen. The popular searches just pops up the 10 most searched last week. So let's go back out to our main page. And on the right hand side, you'll see that they have special collections, literature and history. History links you to History Study Center. And there's a webinar already on this one. On the Wyoming State Library's homepage, you can find the link to our webinar archive and get this one. This is a fabulous resource. Here you'll find study units on various topics. Here are the main topics, or you can enter a keyword or a subject here at the top. What you're going to find when you go into one of these study units will give you a lot of detailed background information. It will give you highlight information in various resources, reference material, biographies, articles, maps, primary source documents, images. So this is a great way to look at some detailed information about a topic, and that's in their study units. They also have historical documents here. There's also historic speeches, the Penguin Book of Historic Speeches and the 20th Century Speeches, presidential documents. If you want to know more about each one of those, there's a Browse Historical Documents link there at the bottom. There's also maps, reference, multimedia, and a search for journals. The other special collection link here is literature. This takes you to ProQuest Learning Literature. This will be October's webinar. So in ProQuest Learning Literature, you're going to find, again, some great information here that I'll go into detail in next month's webinar. But a few things to highlight are their study pages, which will let you take a look at various genres, literary periods, literary movements, and Shakespeare. So if you're trying to find information for students or get up to speed yourself on a particular genre, here's a great place to start on that. What you're going to find here, I'm going to click on poetry, for example. You're going to get a lot of background information here and highlighted authors in that particular genre or period, and the addition of some study questions. So if you're working on a unit, addition of linking to criticism. I know kids are always looking for literary criticism. So that's in those study pages. There's also knowledge notes here. This is going to be something that we need to make sure that library staff are all aware of, and let our teachers know about this, because this is a great help for our students. We had a colleague whose daughter was struggling with one of the classics, and so I pointed her in this direction. What you're going to get here about some of these pieces of literature are is information about the author, overview, the characters, plot summaries, themes, and highlights from every one of the chapters. This is really great to have a reader get a handle on a piece of work, but I think it's also important for our teachers to know, because students might be inclined to borrow information from this. There's also Poets on Screen, a dictionary thesaurus, some citation guide information here. Across the top, you can search for authors, search literary criticism by words in the text, the article about the author, and notice all the great resources this is searching when you're looking for this. So a lot of resources that we may not have access to otherwise, but are being searched here in ProQuest Learning Literature. There's also a reference link here, multimedia and literary works here across the top. And you can again look for words in the text if you're trying to find where that appeared, or you need some examples for doing a programming. Again, that will be next month's webinar will be on ProQuest Learning Literature. So back here on the main page, let's take a look at where those tabs show up on a main search. Let's do one more search here. I'm going to do a search on Abraham Lincoln. So when we've looked before, we've done this general look at the magazines and articles and audio, as well as the topic page. But let's take a look here at these tabs now, General, Literature, and History. So we've searched Abraham Lincoln. If I do literature now, it's going to go to the literature page. So now out of ProQuest Learning Literature, I have information about him as an author, some reference materials, literary criticism. So I don't have to go to 3 separate resources on my topic. I can now go to eLibrary Curriculum Edition, Library or ProQuest Learning Literature, and History Study Center, and get all my results for my search. So here's History Study Center, and we've got speeches, decades, historical documents, all this pulled together now in one search in eLibrary Curriculum Edition. The last piece I want to show you here across the top is their Common Core correlations. I know we're all hearing a lot of buzz about that as we move that direction. When you click on that, you'll see that you can go to our state standards as well, but let's keep it on the Common Core. And down here under Subject, we can look at English Language Arts and Literacy or Math. So let's just leave it on that and click Go. Now you'll see that under Common Core Standards for English Language Arts and Literacy, we have the various grades here. So for example, let's go to grade 4, Reading Informational Text. You just click on that little triangle. Now it's popped up here at the top. Reading Informational Text, I can go to Key IDs and Details. It gives me the standards here, and then it gives me a link to resources. So if I click on See Resources, it's going to bring me into eLibrary and the resources and links they have to view documents correlated to this standard. So this is going to help you do a lot of background information on working with the standards, on what you need to know about that, what the kids are going to be needing and looking for. And that's here at the top under the Common Core correlations. If you're in a school and will be at WLA's Information Power this year, we'll be talking more about Common Core and our databases in that session on Saturday. The other thing we'll be talking about in that Information Power setting is these book carts and timelines and quizzes here when you log in a little differently in a school setting. There's good helps here at the top where you can get information about searching the research topics and information about this particular database. And at the bottom of the screen are educator tools. Again, more information about this database. Here you're going to find a quick start teaching guide, some video training, research topic listings. So a lot of good information here that you can link to find out more about this resource and what they're helping with. There's also posters and flyers that you can print out if you're promoting this particular database. So that's the end of this particular webinar, but what I want to show you before we wrap up, and that's where you can go for the webinars, the Wyoming State Library homepage. Here you'll find a link to the webinar archive where they're listed here by title, and they're in date order. If you scroll down, then you can find the resource that we had on History Study Center, as well as other databases. The other useful thing on that page to keep up to date on our databases is the Wild Databases blog. Any changes, additions, promotional topic headings will be found here on the databases blog. There's also the training calendar, so that's where you keep up to date on not only webinars that the Wyoming State Library is doing, but listings of other webinars that are available to you for free just by taking a look at that training calendar. And the last thing we're going to look at, on the Go Wild Databases page, another helpful tool, at the top here it says Help and Tutorials, and there's a link to research guides. These are being put up to help get a handle on all the databases that we have. So for example, if you were trying to find biography resources in Go Wild, here they're listed at the top with a link to the database. It links to the webinars, the tutorials, and other resources available for biographical information. There's also one on the In Context databases. Those are very useful for topics such as history, biography, genealogy. There's the link to those, and webinars and tutorials and support materials for those. If there's tip sheets, lesson plans, we've tried to bring those together on these pages. And those are just at the top of the Go Wild Databases page. So let me go back to the eLibrary page, and if you've got any questions, just raise your hand and I'll unmute you if you've got a speaker, or just put it in the chat box. And I'll stay on for a few minutes if you've got a question. Otherwise, thanks for joining in today, and hope to see you at WLA.